guys, it's Sam and this is Top 5 Wednesday. If you are new to Top 5 Wednesday, I will leave the link to the Goodreads group down below for topics and such. This month's topics were a little bit challenging for me to think of because I set the bar so high last October. I just loved all the topics I picked last October. I got good ones for this October now too, but like last October, they just came to me so easily and I didn't want to repeat all of them, but I decided to do some like spoopy topics and some like magic. So like magic and spook, basically. Basically hocus pocus. I want the aesthetic for October to be hocus pocus. But the theme for today is our favorite magic systems, and I love magic systems of any kind, even if they don't make sense. I have a nice little assortment here of all very different ones, so let's just get into it. Number 5 is the magic system from the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. This involves magic that taps into the earth and like tectonic plates and just all this kind of post-apocalyptic fun stuff. And it's such an interesting magic system because they can tap into that, but also because of their abilities, the people that can do this kind of magic are oppressed in this society. But they are super powerful, like world-ending type magic, Broken Earth type magic with this magic system. And it's one that I don't always quite understand because it can be so complex at times and it almost has this like atmospheric quality to how it's written about, but I still find it incredibly interesting. Number 4 is the magic system in the Book of the Ancestors series by Mark Lawrence, the first book being Red Sister. This magic system is another one that doesn't quite make sense, but I don't care. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, it's very complex and we're only finding out little like trickles of information about it, and there's all these different kinds of things as far as people can walk through rocks, they can walk through time, they can predict things, they can have blades on their fingers that you can't actually see, they can do shadow magic, like all of this stuff that's so cool, but again, it's just like, it happens. And I sort of love it. And it doesn't just happen, but in the first book it feels like it just happens, and as you learn more in this series you find out it doesn't just happen, but it's so interesting and there's so many different types, and I love book series where there's tons of different types of magic, not just like the one, like all of these different kinds. So this one is really fun too because the nuns, because this is about a school of magical assassin nuns, they're training in these different types of magic, and certain girls have innate skills and abilities in these different magics, and it's just a fun time. It's almost like a more complex Hogwarts house. The third magic system is in the Magician series by Lev Grossman. This is a more contemporary fantasy, so it's our world with magic, and what I love about this so much is that there is a school, a university for magic, and the magic is challenging. So you can have just innate skills, but you really have to learn almost like it's scientific in a way. There's procedures to it, there's a lot of setup to it. A lot of these characters are having to do like day and week long like spell crafting, which I just find really interesting because obviously in a lot of like high fantasy people can just do the magic, and here it's much more scientific and intellectual, and I really like that take on it. Number 2 is the Different Witcheries from Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. This series again is one where you can kind of like pick your Hogwarts house or whatever, because there's different types of witches and they each have a different kind of magic. So there's void witches and wind witches and truth witches and thread witches, and all of these have different abilities. I personally really like the thread witches. I think it's really interesting. They can see the bonds between people and the threads between people and the threads of people's lives, and that's the kind of thing that I find really, really interesting. But there's just so many different kinds of magics in here that I find really interesting and really compelling, and you're discovering new ones and new twists on those kinds of magics as well. So there's like established magics, and then there's other ones that people don't quite know about, and that I find very intriguing. And number 1 almost goes without saying at this point because I feel like it's a fan favorite magic system, and that's Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Being a Mistborn or being a Misting, it's all this kind of like metal magic, so people ingest different kinds of metals, and those metals allow them to have different kinds of abilities. If you're a Misting, you can only do that with one kind of metal, and that can be strength, pushing and pulling, and all these different things, pushing and pulling of things, of emotions, of whatever. There's a ton of different kinds I'm not going to go into right now because it would be just a whole minutes long segment on how to do this. But Mistborns can ingest all of the metals, which is very rare, and have any of the abilities. And it's just a really cool magic system. I like Brandon Sanderson's magic systems. They tend to be very kind of scientific and explained really well, and sometimes you want one of those, sometimes you don't. Like, I'm okay with any kind of magic system, just give me all the magic systems. But if you like more complex and like thought out magic systems that have a lot of rules, then his magic systems you will probably enjoy. And Mistborn is one of the more iconic magic systems and a lot of fun. And scenes with this kind of magic you can see in your head like a movie. I love it. So those are some of my favorite magic systems. Comment down below and let me know some of your favorite magic systems. I'm always down for new magic systems. I love them so much. New and interesting ones. Let me know some that I should read about down below. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!